All right, today I want to talk about how you can triple your revenue and profits without taking on new clients. And we're going to talk all about increasing client lifetime value, or LTV. So this is the ultimate secret to compound growth in your gym business. All right, and this is fundamental for short-term success, but also for long-term success, because there's a lot of problems right now gym owners are facing in 2023 going into 2024 predominantly around Facebook ad costs. And we've been through a period now where the last 10 years or so, it was extremely easy to get clients from Facebook because Facebook average lead costs were much lower, in a range probably between £3 to £8 or about $5 to $12, which was very feasible compared to the typical conversion rates that we get and compared to the typical price points that we have. So a lot of trainers were easily able to grow because ad costs were just so low. But over time, as with any new technology, any market, as more and more people get into the market and start using that technology and using that advantage, then the advantage gets diluted for everyone. And now we see ad costs are rising because there are more personal trainers and gym owners wanting to use those adverts, which means Facebook has the leverage now and Facebook is going to raise the prices. It's just supply and demand. If more trainers in one town want to target, let's say, the women 30 to 50 years of age for their fitness services, then if there are 10 trainers or 20 trainers competing for that market, Facebook are going to charge more money and they have the leverage. And on top of that, if you've got a lot of trainers paying that money, but also they're all offering the same kind of thing, they're all doing a 6-week challenge or a 4-week challenge, their adverts all look the same, their sales funnels and landing pages all look the same, then you have an even bigger problem because now the market, the customers don't see you as different, and the market are less convinced. They need to be sold harder now to actually make the same sale they would have easily bought 5 years ago, because now what you're offering is not even unique anymore. So because of this, Facebook ad costs are rising sharply. And basically, I think now the reality for a lot of gym owners is that we're heading into average double-digit lead cost territory. What I mean by that is, whereas we used to be in single-digit lead cost, £3 to £8 average, now a lot of trainers either are experiencing a double-digit £10 to £20 average lead cost, or they soon will be. And even if you're not right now, if you're still getting £3 to £8 leads, that's fantastic. But you have to prepare, because that might not be your reality in 6 to 12 months from now. I've been in Facebook ads for 10 years. And I remember when I first started doing this, I could literally buy leads for 20 pence. I could acquire a customer for £5. And now we'll spend closer to 50 to 80 pounds to acquire a customer, which still works for us. But I would much rather the £5, but we're not going back to that. Those days are over. So the reason we've been able to keep doing ads for so long, I've been able to grow multiple gyms and keep growing our franchise today with the same ad strategy, is because we prepared for higher ad costs than we actually got. So we were able to not only make tons of profit with low lead costs, but we were also able to keep making profit and stay competitive even when the lead cost went up. We prepared ourselves to grow into those rising lead costs, whereas other gym owners, other personal trainers now in our market and in your market, they're now getting priced out of the Facebook ads market, meaning the lead cost is getting so high for them that they're now unable to make it sustainable and feasible. And when that happens, that's going to be a big blow, because Facebook ads are the best and fastest way to grow a business. They're not the only way, but they're by far the best. It would be very similar to as if, let's say, you needed to get in shape for a competition and you could no longer go to the gym and lift weights, right? Obviously, lifting weight strength training is the best way to carve out a good body composition. And if you couldn't use it, sure, there are other ways you can get around it, but it would be far much easier and simpler just to be able to lift weights. and you do not want to lose that ability. So what I'm going to talk to you in this episode today is pretty much the big picture strategy of how we actually do that, how you can stay competitive, how you can afford to spend way more money than all your competitors and still stay in the Facebook ads market and get customers, acquire customers profitably, keep liquidating your ad costs, and keep making a 5 to 10x return on your ad spend. So you can keep growing consistently and not even worry about the price of ads going up. All the while, your competitors who are not doing this are going to be struggling and they're going to drop out of the market one by one. So it's going to come to a point where Facebook ads are going to be so expensive that only you will be able to actually keep running the ads because you've set up your model that you're able to pay more money and still profit. So like one of my old business mentors, Dan Kennedy, always says, who can afford the most to acquire the customer always wins the market. If you can afford to spend the most money to buy a lead and to acquire a customer, you will beat all the competition because Facebook ads, like anything else, is a bidding system. It's an auction system. Whoever can pay the most will get the customer. The trick is to be able to afford the most and still make a profit. So the way we do that is these two things here, these two numbers, which you need to know to grow your business. The two most important numbers in your business are your lifetime value and your customer acquisition cost, LTV and CAC. All right, so the LTV is the revenue a client pays you for the duration that you work with them. So for example, if your average client pays you $200 a month to work with you, and you keep that client on average for 6 months, you get an LTV of £1,200. Okay, because £200 times 6 months is 1,200. Your customer acquisition cost, the other big number you need to know, that's the amount of money that you invest to acquire or buy that customer. So if you invest £100 into Facebook ads this week and you generated 10 leads and got 2 sales for £100, your acquisition cost would be £50. You invested £50 to buy each customer. So following this example, if that was your numbers, you would know that you invest on average £50 to acquire one customer. And you would also know, based on LTV, that you are going to make £1,200 from that client over a 6-month period. If you're with me so far. So you know you're putting in 50 and you're going to make 1,200 on average. This is all business really is and marketing. It's the process of just buying customers and making sure you're making more money than what you spend. And you're making a high enough amount of money to make good profit, and you're making the money fast enough to keep your cash flow going. That's pretty much marketing and business in a nutshell. So if you don't know these numbers, then growing your gym is going to be extremely difficult, right? You're not going to know your profit margins. You're not going to know what you can afford for advertising. And if you don't know what your lifetime value is, you're not able to increase it. And if you don't know what your acquisition cost per customer is, you're not able to reduce it. So the key to raising the profitability, making more money, and being able to easily spend more on your acquisition cost is to increase the LTV. It's not about getting more clients all the time. It's about increasing the value or the revenue you make of clients coming in. So if you can do these two things, this is your only focus in business, is to maintain or reduce your acquisition cost for a customer whilst increasing your customer lifetime value. That means you can afford to spend the same amount of money and make more money return, or you could even invest less money to acquire a customer and make more money in return. And that's pretty much how you get the advantage. This is what we call the economic advantage. So think about this. When you have a higher lifetime value per client, you're able to invest more in the paid ads. You can happily spend higher acquisition costs and higher lead costs. You can invest more money into your existing customers, which is going to increase the retention, which increases the LTV even more. You can deliver a better experience. And also then with those more profits, you can invest in staff members, better facilities. And the best thing about this is when you have customers paying more money, you're able to do all these things with less workload. It's much easier to make $20,000 a month with 20 clients than it is to do it with 200 clients with that extreme example. So the fewer clients you have to make the same money, the better experience those clients are going to have. So let's walk through the lifetime value formula so you can see exactly, systematically, mathematically how we can improve it. And this is the formula I've created. There are 4 pillars that make up lifetime value. If you increase any one of these, you're going to add exponential profit to your account and you'll be more easily able to pump money into Facebook ads. So the first thing you need to determine is your baseline lifetime value, which is what is your current LTV? This is just the baseline. So we use this equation from earlier. The baseline LTV is the amount of money your customer pays you each month multiplied by the number of months the average client stays with you. So you have to know your average retention rate. Some clients will stay for you for 6 months, some will stay for 18 months. If that was 50-50, you'd have an average of 12 months. So you have to know the average retention rate of your clients. So like we said, for example, £200 a month times 6 months average retention rate gives you an average baseline LTV of £1,200. So you need to calculate that. Pause this right now. Go and calculate roughly what your number is for your clients right now. If you're not sure exactly, just make a conservative guess. So, and you can also just default to the lowest amount of time. So for example, if you don't know exactly what your retention rate is, you probably do know the minimum. So if I said to you, hey, do any of your clients, or like, let's say, do 90% plus of your clients stay with you longer than 3 months? And you'd probably say, yeah, no doubt. Okay, do 90% of your clients stay with you longer than 6 months? And then maybe you say, yeah. Okay, did 90% of them stay longer than 12 months? And then maybe you go, no, I think more people drop off at that point. So if that's kind of explains your situation, then you want to use 3 months or 6 months or maybe even 9 months as your baseline conservative number. So anyway, let's just go with 6 months. You should be able to retain an average customer for 6 months. So once you know that baseline number, then we have 4 pillars or 4 ways we can increase the baseline lifetime client value. So we can increase transaction value, we can increase retention value, we can increase upsell value, or we can increase referral value. So let's break down each of those and how you do them. Starting with number 1, transaction value. This basically means how much money you charge per month. And this is the easiest way to increase your LTV formula. Just charge more money. So for example, let's say you increased your price from $200 a month up to $250 per month and didn't change anything else. Now you're making £1,500 after 6 months, not $1,200. So it doesn't sound like much, but when you multiply that across every 10 clients, you're making an extra £833 a month or $1,000 a month. If you have 50 clients, then you can just 5x that. So, we're not going to talk about how to raise your fees today. That's a different topic I've covered in different podcasts. But just consider, especially going into the new year, raise your fees just at least 5 to 10% for current customers and at least 10 to 20% for new customers coming in. So if you currently charge $100 a month, raise it to $110. It's going to make a huge difference in the long term, the more customers you have, and it won't cause anywhere near as much disruption as you think it will. All right. So you could add more value into your service to justify the price increase, but to be honest, 99% of gym owners I speak to are already over-delivering way more value than what they're charging, and they just need to actually increase their price to actually justify their value. So that's the first thing. If you just increase your prices 10% right now, you've got an instant 10% more money, which means when you compare this to advertising, you've now just given yourself a 10% buffer, meaning you could actually increase your average client acquisition cost by 10% and still make the same profit. So now you can spend 10% more than your competitors can, which gives you more an advantage. But that's just one pillar. The next pillar is increasing retention value. So this means increasing the LTV by keeping the client for longer. So how do we keep clients longer? Well, two things. We give them the results they were promised and a great experience that they didn't expect. So your clients will come for the results, but they'll stay for the experience. And here's an example. So let's say you go to a steakhouse and you order a beautiful, medium rare, juicy steak. 10 minutes later, they bring it out and it tastes great. However, when you arrived at the restaurant, there was litter outside. It looked a bit grubby. The waiters didn't smile when they greeted you. The cutlery you had was dirty maybe. After the meal, nobody asked you if you liked it. Nobody offered you dessert. Nobody seemed to care if you were satisfied or not. So what happened was the result you wanted, which was the taste of the steak, was brilliant. But the experience around that result was poor. Now think about, for most people, what would happen as a result. Most people would not go back to that restaurant, even though the result was on par. It's the experience that determines if you stay or not. And that restaurant would have destroyed their average lifetime client value, because now all they make is the £40 for that one steak. Whereas if I'd become a loyal customer, just because of them treating me really, which cost them nothing for a waiter to actually just give a damn and ask better questions, I could have been a loyal customer there for 10 years, and I could have brought all my friends there, and they could have made thousands of pounds from me, not just £40. See, this is the one thing that cripples most businesses in the world. So would you rather earn the £40 per customer or the £1,000 per customer? So always provide the results your customer expects along with an experience they don't, and blow them away. That experience is the cheapest thing to provide. So let's say we do that. We increase the results, we increase the experience, and now let's say we look at the stats again, and now your average retention rate has gone from 6 months up to 12 months. So now you've doubled your retention value. The average customer now lasts 12 months because you plug in some special retention tactics. So now the new equation is we're now charging $250 a month and we're getting an average of 12 months retention, which now means we're making £3,000 per client. We've doubled it from 1,500 to 3,000 just by that one change alone. But we're only halfway there. We've got 2 more pillars that we can actually use to increase the LTV exponentially more. So let's look at upsell value. This means we get our clients to buy more stuff, so we make more money. Very simple, right? But most people are not doing this, and most gym owners are either not doing it, or they're not doing it systematically, or they're not doing it to the degree in which they could. And most gym owners get their upsell prices completely wrong. So offering upsells is really critical to increasing profits. And if you do it right and offer the right things, it's actually going to help serve your clients better. And a lot of this is a mindset thing. A lot of trainers don't want to offer upsells because they feel salesy. They don't want to look like it's all about the money. But the professional and ethical way to think about this is this. Have a think about what extra products or services would help your clients get the results that they want or enhance the experience. Also think about where could you add convenience. So if your customer is going to look for these things elsewhere anyway, if you offer them in-house, it's going to be easier, faster, and probably cheaper for them to get it from you. And plus, you can rest assured she's only going to get the products that you recommend. So if you think about supplements, for example, your clients are more than likely going to look into supplements and buy them from somewhere. But they're going to go to some supplement store, some bodybuilding store, and they're going to be sold whatever the bodybuilder guy gives them, which you might not agree with. They're probably going to shift protein and creatine and all these different things, and the customer's going to spend a ton of money on something they don't need or could even be counterproductive for them. So it's better to take control of that situation and say, hey, here's the supplements that I do recommend you take, and you either refer them to somewhere to get them and you get an affiliate commission, or you stock them in-house and you know that your clients are getting the best prescription from you. So other things you could offer would be workout gear, workout merch, apparel, clothing, hybrid coaching, drinks, snacks they can consume before the workouts. Could be, semi-private training, personal training, anything else. Now, the next successful thing when it comes to upsells is not just what you offer, but when you offer them. And there are two places in the client relationship journey that have the best effect for making upsells. The first is going to be a point of sale upsell. So if you ever heard McDonald's say, "Would you like fries with that?" when you order a meal, this adds millions of dollars for McDonald's every year. This simple script, when you buy a burger, they say, "Would you like fries with that?" And then 8 out of 10 people just go, "Sure." And then once they agree to that, the next thing they ask you is, "Do you want to make that meal a large?" Right? Or coffee shops will do it now, saying, "Hey, do you want the regular coffee or do you want the brand new super strong Arabica monkey poo coffee?" And for like 50 pence extra. And you're like, "Yeah, sure, 50 pence, whatever, don't care." But they're asking that question to maybe 5,000 people a day. So they're making significant money from it. So the point of sale upsell is so powerful because the person is already buying from you. They already have their credit card out. If you offer something that really doesn't add much disruption, or it adds something complementary that will enhance what they're already buying, most of the time they'll probably just take it. So something like this, when the customer's just purchased or given you their card info, you would say something like this: "Hey, would you also want to get 3 personal training sessions for the first month, which will really help you narrow down your technique, do a body posture analysis, and help you learn the exercises and get better results faster. Because you're a new customer signing up for the 6-week group program, we want to give you a one-time offer to get 3 PT sessions for only $200 instead of $400. So it's a one-time offer, limited edition. They can buy it now. It's a complement to the main thing they're buying. It's not a competing with it. And 1 in 4, 1 in 5 will easily just say sure. And then you just made extra money just for nothing. So that's something you can do there. Now, the second upsell is what I call a progress review upsell. Now, you want to give regular progress reviews to your clients at least once a month, check in with them. And this is just basically another consultation. So people asked me before, like, how do you keep selling fitness to the same customers? And the truth is, all I do with my customers is I just give them ongoing consultations. It's just a consultation where you diagnose their current progress and then you prescribe what they might need to get to the next level. So it's very prescriptive, very professional, very ethical based. So remember, just because your client signed up with you 6 weeks ago doesn't mean they've solved all their problems in life. In fact, what happens is, since there's never really an end goal, there's never an end result in fitness or making money or happiness or spirituality or anything like that. It's really all about the next step of the journey. So when you first signed up a client, they had big problems, right? Because they weren't training, they weren't eating well. You then prescribed them maybe your 6-week program. And now they're doing great. They're starting to make better habits. They're getting some results. But now if you sit down with that client, they're going to have new challenges. Maybe they have new goals they want to meet and they still need help with certain things. They're not going to be perfect in 6 weeks. So this is really your duty to sit with them and say, "Hey, let's look at the problems that we have solved and let's look at the existing problems we have, or maybe the new problems or challenges we can solve." And then you would then prescribe them the next thing they need to solve those exact problems, which is going to be to work with you in some capacity. So you can basically identify the gaps in their progress, and then you can prescribe additional services or products that would help them get on track and get the best results possible. So like I said, if a client maybe sits with you halfway through a program and says they feel like it's going okay, but they don't feel as capable of doing the exercises as the other clients in the group, if their technique isn't as on point, Offer them a pack of 3 personal training sessions to kind of accelerate them up to speed. If they're doing fine with the exercise, but they're not getting the protein they need because their work schedule is too busy, offer them a protein supplement that would make it convenient for them to get some protein in. If they're going through some personal challenges, offer them some mindset or performance coaching if you're qualified to do that kind of thing. And if they're struggling with nutrition overall and can't stick to a plan, you could offer a more customized or a more personalized macro plan. If they're losing motivation, offer them an accountability program, right? So you see, you should have a solution to all the main things. And not everybody needs these things, but everyone's going to have gaps somewhere. And it's your ethical duty to at least offer it to them. So if everything is going great with a client, but they just need a new challenge because they're crushing it where they are, offer them an advanced program to get to the next level. Maybe they've achieved their 6-week goals in the first 3 weeks because they're absolutely on point. So in that case, say, hey, you're absolutely crushing this 6-week group program. How about for the next 3 weeks, we upgrade you and you jump into our semi-private sessions and we can learn some more advanced techniques and push you a little bit harder. How about that? And they might go, yeah, sure, that sounds great. How much extra is it? Bam. So there's no harm in inviting your clients to try something else that you believe is going to get them better results. All right. So one more point here as well is that when you increase upsell value of a client, you also improve your retention value because the clients who get better results stay longer. Whereas the clients who are not getting results or are falling behind, they will usually phase themselves out slowly and cancel. All right. So how do we then quantify the upsell value of your clients and add it to our lifetime formula? Well, it's pretty simple. At the end of the month, add up all the revenue that you generated from upsell products and services. So maybe you make, let's say, you make $15,000 a month just from your boot camps or large group training, your base membership. But then let's say you make an extra $5,000 a month purely from semi-private supplements, things like that. So you would divide the amount of upsell revenue by the number of active members you currently have. So let's say, for example, we have we said 5,000 in upsell revenue, and let's say, for example, you have 150 members at your gym. So 5,000 in upsell revenue divided by 150 equals £33. Okay, here's another example. Let's say you have 100 active members and they pay $250 a month. All right, here we go. So we're going to add a point of sale upsell, which is a supplement bundle for £100. Okay. Then we're going to offer a hybrid accountability coaching package, which gives them personal check-ins 3 times a week and customized nutrition, and a one-to-one 30-minute session once a month. And the client's going to pay an extra £150 monthly for this on top of their $250. So let's run the numbers. You have 100 active clients paying $250 a month baseline. Now let's say 10% of your members accept the offer for the supplement bundle. Okay, and you can actually make this a recurring subscription where they now get a new stack drop shipped to them every month. So now 10 out of 100 clients are paying you £100 extra per month for supplements. That means you get 1,000 extra per month in gross revenue. Let's say 5% of the overall client base accept your offer of a hybrid coaching, and they'll pay an extra $150 a month for that. So now you have 5 clients paying an extra $150, which is $1,500 a month extra recurring revenue. Now you're getting £2,500 extra each month in recurring revenue from the same 100 clients. So now we take that money each month being made, 2,500, divided by the total clients in your client base, which is 100, equals £25 upsell value per client each month. So now we need to multiply that monthly value by the number of months that they stay with us, which, as we did in the last section, is now 12 months retention. So it's 25 times 12. So therefore, in 12 months, we're adding an extra £300 per customer on average in revenue. So now our average client LTV is going to equal £3,300 over 12 months. We've brought it up from 3,000 to 3,300. And finally then, the last pillar in the lifetime value equation is your referral value. Now this is where things get exponentially very interesting. So right now, to recap, your average client is getting great results and experience with you. We increased their baseline fee from $200 to $250 a month. That was the transaction value. We increased the retention value from 6 months to 12 months average. We increased the upsell value by £300. And we've took the LTV from 1,200 all the way to 3,300. Now here's we take a quantum jump and have exponential results. Okay, but first, let me just ask you a quick question. Do you think it's possible that you could get your client to refer just one new client in a 12-month period? So every client you have, could you get that one client to refer one more person in the 12 months they stay with you? No problem, right? We could all get a client to refer one person in a year. So the thing is, if you get just one successful referral per customer in 12 months, you increase the average LTV of that client by 100%. Because if one client who's worth £3,300 brings you one more average client who's also worth £3,300, now your client value is £6,600. Do you see how that works? You literally double it by getting one referral in the lifetime of that client. So you put a few simple systems in that took your average LTV from 1,200 to 6,600, and you've more than tripled your revenue per client. You've actually 5x'd it with 0 new clients. So it's literally 5xing the amount of money you make without any new clients that are coming in other than the referrals. So this is how, if you could spend you could earn 5 times more per client, you could technically spend 5 times more on advertising to buy the customers. But you don't need to spend 5 times more. You might only need to start spending 0.5 or 1.5 or 2 times more. So what would happen in your business if you implemented these systems today? Let's have a quick recap. So we increase prices 10%. You can do that right now. Okay, write down a few ways you can increase client retention. Now, I have a program called the 7 Pillars of Retention that we build our businesses on. After using so many retention strategies over the years, we've now really got this to a point where we have a 3 to 5% month-on-month retention rate. And there are 7 core systems that we use to do that. And you can message me to find out more about that if you want. The third thing we did then was the upsell value. So what point of sale upsell can you offer immediately to enhance the client's experience when they're buying from you? Then the progress review upsell. What can you do to increase the LTV with a progress review? Then tracking. How are you going to be tracking these numbers so far? How are you going to track the number of upsells and the upsell value? The next thing then is to start generating internal referrals. How can you get 1 referral per customer at least? And then you can also generate external referrals. So what can you do to create promotional partnerships with similar providers like salons or shops and things like that, and create customer swapping strategies? So tracking and implementing these things is just the beginning. And so again, if you can do that, you'll be able to increase your revenue per customer by 3 to 6x. And that means you're going to be able to easily afford £10 a lead, £20 a lead, or £50 acquisition cost, or even £100 acquisition cost. This is how you'll stay competitive with Facebook ads, whereas all your competitors are going to get priced out of the market because they're not doing these things. They're going to look for the next little hack on Facebook, or the next thing to make Facebook ads a little bit cheaper. but it's not going to help them. This is the real work that needs to be done. And this is what I've done for over 10 years to keep my gyms constantly profitable and competitive. So if you like that and you want some help implementing all these things, this is what I do inside my 400K studio mastermind, where we help any studio of 2,000 square feet scale to at least 400,000 revenue per year with a very healthy profit margin and a low stress business. So if you want to work with me over the next 12 months, we will implement all of these plug and play systems that I have drafted out. We have them all systemized, templated, scripted. We'll plug them straight into your business within days, and you will exponentially see your revenue go up for the work that you're doing right now. All right, let me know if you want any help with that. You can follow the link below, and I'll catch you again.